Complexity makes things harder. In programming, complex code is a nightmare. It becomes hard to maintain, hard to update. Over time, it just becomes debt and an issue for whoever has to work on it. In a similar fashion, when people start running, these days I feel sorry for them because you need a shoe rotation, you need a fancy watch, you need the latest gear and a very complex training program, all for people that just want to get out and start running. I think this overcomplication of when people start running just puts people off. The barrier to entry for running is already high because it's hard to do, and making it overcomplicated with all this extra stuff you need, I think really puts runners off. I've always thought that keeping it simple when you start and having the main goal be consistency is so much better. That's why I have a few key principles that we stick to. The idea of these is to be a very simple set of rules to help people be consistent over time and take out all of that complexity. In this video, I'm going to run you through these 5 key principles to be consistent when you start running, and I'm going to throw in a few bonus smaller tips that are more practical to help you out as well. The key principles don't require you to be anywhere or buy anything. They are more about how you think and approach your start to running. I hope it's helpful. The first principle is really simple. It's do less than you think. What this means is set your bar lower. A lower bar that you hit over a longer period of time is better than a high bar you hit once. For really new runners, and I mean someone who's never run before, this can be as simple as a 5K run once a week. If you can set down the time to do that, it's so much more achievable and it won't absolutely beat you up that you're so much more likely to carry that on for a longer period of time. The next principle is related to do less than you think, but it's go slower than you think. I cannot say how many times I've seen new runners say they're not built for running or it's just too hard, I can't do it. And the real problem is they're going too fast. If you look at the pace chart of most new runners, it starts out at least a minute quicker per K than it ends up. This is such a common problem and it's so easy to do. Unless you've run for a while, it's really hard to know what pace you should run at. So I completely understand it, but it can be solved. When you start running, if it feels too hard, just slow yourself down. If you go into a run with this in mind, start running, take a deep breath, and then force yourself to run slower. It might feel like you're walking or you're just not, what's the point? But I promise you it's better over the long run. You'll feel less beat up, you won't be so puffed out at the end, and you might even enjoy it, I don't know. But go slower than you think. Next up is don't obsess over the stats, at least not yet. When you're new to running and you get all these lovely stats from Strava, you can see your pace, your distance, how far you're on, you can even see your HRV. It's very easy, and I think it's a bit of human nature to get caught up in these numbers and to obsess over them. I need to be faster, I need to run further, my heart rate needs to be lower. Ultimately, that stuff is meaningful, but not nearly enough when you start running for you to obsess over it. First of all, the numbers are sort of meaningless when you first start. What I mean by this is you don't know what pace you can run or should be running at. You're just trying to start running. So ultimately, looking at these numbers too much doesn't really help you. It can just bog you down in the details. Again, when I think the most important thing is consistency, you don't need to worry about these details. The last one of my 5 main principles is to accept that it sucks. The barrier to entry of running is really, really high. It's hard to get into. So many people try to get out for a run, hate it, find it really miserable, and just say that they're not built to be a runner. That's not true. We can all run. It's just that when you start running, it's really hard. It's painful. It hurts your lungs. You feel like an idiot. You feel like you're doing it wrong and everyone is judging you. And that sucks. That's really hard. But it sucks for everyone. Even the best runners that you see or know hated it when they started. The key is to be consistent, find what you enjoy, go easy on yourself. And it will suck, and sometimes you might want to sack it off. That's fine. Getting out the door over a longer period of time is better than perfecting every run. Don't beat yourself up if it feels hard. A lot of people tell themselves that, oh, it should be easy by now. I've done 5 runs, or I should be able to run at this speed, or I should have run this distance. That is nonsense. Accept that it's hard and that you will hate it and you will sack it off. If being a runner and running consistently is important to you, it will suck. The best runners you know have had more bad runs than new runners have had runs in total. So accept that it is hard and it will suck. That's the end of my 5 main principles. I wanted these to be simple and widely applicable enough to most people, so it doesn't matter what you have, where you are, or stuff like that. These are rules that anyone can follow, and I genuinely have seen them help runners be more consistent over time. Next, I'm going to talk about some smaller bonus things that I've seen either in myself or seen work for others. These are little things that help people get out the door in some more specific ways. The first is simply to reward yourself. Allow yourself to be treated after you've done a run. You can say, if I go for a run, I will allow myself to X. X is the treat for yourself. It can be get a nice coffee. It can be buy yourself some new shoes if you want. It can be anything, whatever will make you get out the door. Next is to set SMART goals. SMART goals are a way of deciding a specific time and location to do something. SMART stands for specific, measurable, actionable, for which you are responsible, and time bound. That's a whole lot of words to say pick a time and a place to do something. So an example of a SMART goal might be, on Tuesday at 5 p.m, I'm going to run 1K. This is so much easier to get out and actually do, and it's so much better than saying, at some point this week, I want to run. It really does help you focus your brain, and you can really hold yourself accountable this way, making it much more likely that you'll actually get out and do what you say you're going to do. Next is going to sound a bit weird, but simply identify as a runner. What this means is think of yourself as a runner. It's really common when people start running to say, oh, when I can run this far, or when I can run this time, or when I've done this many runs, I'll be a runner. This is complete nonsense. If you identify as a runner and see yourself that way, it makes it so much easier to accept when it's hard and to accept that, sometimes you don't always enjoy it. It also makes it much more likely that you won't be so worried about doing it. A lot of new runners are scared that if I go run outside, someone will see me. And yeah, they probably will, but that's fine. And identifying as a runner and really internalizing that and feeling okay with that really does help you be consistent over time. And lastly, of the little bonus tips I have is to find a community if you can. Running communities like parkrun or even running clubs can be hugely beneficial. You'll see that other people have the same problems you do, worry about the same things that you do, and just generally go through the same experiences. This can help you feel really more at home while you're running and is hugely beneficial to being consistent over the long run. Also, having friends who you can talk about running with, or even, God forbid, run with, is so helpful and will really make the whole thing more enjoyable, which is the ultimate goal if you want it to be more consistent. And that's it. They are the principles and small ideas I think are the most useful when you're trying to be more consistent as a runner. Hopefully some of these are helpful. I've tried to make them as widely applicable as possible, meaning you don't need much or you don't need to be anywhere to internalize them or to make use of them. I hope they're helpful. I mean, if they're not, there's not much I can do about it now.